The alien artifact buried on Earth. The story they found it 47 meters below the Great Pyramid. Deeper than the bedrock the pyramid sits on. Deeper than any known chamber. A perfect sphere, 3.7 meters in diameter, made of a metal that shouldn't exist. Not bronze. Not iron. Something that makes our sensors malfunction and our carbon dating equipment return impossible results. The sphere is 847 million years old. Buried when Earth's continents were still forming. When the most complex life was primitive algae. Before dinosaurs. Before land plants. Before anything that could build. And 3 days ago, after 847 million years of silence, it activated. The message isn't a greeting. It's not a warning. It's a countdown. And according to the translation, we have 847 hours before something called Protocol Omega executes. Dr. Amara Okonkwo was the first person to realize the sphere couldn't be from Earth. Not because of its age, though 847 million years predates human civilization by 846.7 million years. But because of its composition. The metal contains stable isotopes that don't exist naturally. Element 115, moscovium, but in a form that's completely stable. On Earth, moscovium decays in milliseconds. This version is eternal. Nuclear physics predicts that super-heavy elements, far beyond anything on Earth's periodic table, could exist in stable forms if they have the exact right number of protons and neutrons. We call this theoretical region the island of stability, but creating these elements requires technology we don't have. Particle accelerators powerful enough to forge atoms that nature never made. Precision at the quantum level that seems impossible. Whoever made the sphere had that technology. 847 million years ago. When Earth was a barren rock with an oxygen-poor atmosphere. And that wasn't even the strangest part. When they X-rayed it, they found the sphere wasn't solid. It's a machine. Containing components microscopic and macroscopic, gears smaller than blood cells working alongside chambers the size of human fists. The internal complexity is beyond anything we've ever created. More intricate than a human brain. More precise than our finest microchips. And it's functional. After 847 million years buried in bedrock, every component still works perfectly. No corrosion. No decay. As if it was placed yesterday. Dr. Marcus Chen, materials scientist, calculated that the sphere's components would need to be made of materials with half-lives exceeding the current age of the universe to remain functional this long. It's not just advanced technology, he told the analysis team. It's technology designed to last until the heat death of the universe, built by beings who thought in timescales we can't comprehend. But the sphere beneath the Great Pyramid wasn't alone. Within 72 hours of the first discovery, 17 identical spheres were found worldwide. Not randomly placed. Arranged in a perfect geometric pattern across the globe. One in Antarctica, buried in ice. One in the Mariana Trench, under 11 kilometers of ocean. One in the Amazon rainforest, beneath the roots of trees that DNA dated back 400 million years. All the same age, 847 million years old. All activating simultaneously. All displaying the same countdown. And all of them arranged precisely on ley lines, hypothetical alignments ancient civilizations supposedly recognized but modern science dismissed as coincidence. Except now there was a reason for those alignments. Something humanity sensed but never understood. Energy patterns created by the sphere's interaction with Earth's magnetic field. The spheres weren't randomly buried. They were installed. Like nodes in a planetary network. A system covering Earth, built when life here was barely multicellular. Decoding the message took 96 hours. Not because the language was complex, but because it was too simple. The sphere's language wasn't evolved. It was engineered. A constructed communication system designed to be decipherable by any civilization capable of recognizing patterns. And when translated, the message contained 3 parts. Part 1. Identification, Planetary Quarantine System 847. Installed 847.3 million Earth years ago. Purpose: containment. Part 2. Status report, breach detected. Primary containment compromised. Protocol Omega initiated. Countdown: 847 hours until sterilization sequence. Part 3. Warning: if receiving this message, your species has achieved sufficient development to detect system activation. You have 847 hours to evacuate planetary surface or demonstrate qualification for exemption. Failure to comply will result in biosphere reset. Biosphere reset. A polite term for total extinction. The immediate question: quarantine against what? Dr. Okonkwo led the analysis team searching for answers in the sphere's data. And what they found made the quarantine suddenly make sense. 847 million years ago, Earth underwent a massive environmental change. The boring billion ended. Oxygen levels spiked. Complex life began to evolve. It's called the Neoproterozoic oxygenation event. For most of Earth's history, the atmosphere contained almost no oxygen. Simple anaerobic bacteria dominated. Then, around 2.4 billion years ago, oxygen began accumulating, produced by cyanobacteria. But complex life didn't evolve for another billion years. Something held life back. Kept it simple. Prevented complexity. For a billion years, the boring billion life stagnated. Then, 847 million years ago, that restraint vanished. Suddenly, life exploded in diversity. Multicellular organisms. Sexual reproduction. Predation. All the building blocks of complex ecosystems emerged within geological instants. Standard theory says this was natural. Environmental changes allowing life to advance. The sphere's data says it was deliberate. Life was released from containment. The sphere contained logs. Billions of years of recorded data, compressed into quantum storage that defied human understanding of information density. And those logs told a story. 3.8 billion years ago, life appeared on Earth. Not through gradual chemical evolution, through directed panspermia. Microbial life seeded deliberately by an ancient civilization we'll call the architects. 2.4 billion years ago, the Great Oxygenation Event. Earth's atmosphere transformed as cyanobacteria proliferated. But complex life didn't follow. The architects installed control systems. Kept life simple. Contained. 847 million years ago, the architects left. The quarantine systems were set to automatic. With one condition. If no architect checked in for 847 million years, assume they're extinct and release the containment. Earth's explosion of complex life wasn't natural. It was a timer reaching zero. A dead man's switch. The architects set life free because they weren't around to supervise it anymore. Directed panspermia is the theory that life didn't originate on Earth. It was delivered here by advanced civilizations. Whether as simple microbes or complex DNA templates, life could be a technology spread throughout the universe by beings far older than us. Earth's biosphere could be a garden planted by someone else. Tended for billions of years. then abandoned. And now that garden has produced something unexpected. Us. Intelligent. Technological. Capable of detecting the containment system. Which is exactly what Protocol Omega is designed to handle. 722 hours left. Humanity mobilized every resource trying to understand Protocol Omega. What sterilization sequence meant. Whether we could stop it. Dr. Chen discovered something in the sphere's power systems. The spheres weren't self-contained. They were drawing energy from Earth's core. Tapping geothermal and magnetic energy on scales that made our largest power plants look like batteries. That energy was building. Accumulating. Being directed toward a specific purpose. When they simulated what would happen if all 17 spheres released their stored energy simultaneously, the results were apocalyptic. Every volcano on Earth would erupt. Tectonic plates would destabilize. Atmospheric composition would shift within hours. Global temperature would spike by 50 degrees Celsius. Mass extinction. The kind that happened at the Permian-Triassic boundary, killing 96% of all species. But that was just the immediate effect. The spheres would then begin restructuring Earth's atmosphere. Reducing oxygen. Increasing nitrogen and methane. Returning conditions to pre-oxygenation levels. Wiping out complex life. Reverting Earth to a bacterial world. A hard reset. Making room for the architects to start over. Or whoever inherits their technology. The phrase haunted Dr. Okonkwo. Demonstrate qualification. How? What would satisfy an automated system designed by a civilization that vanished 847 million years ago? She found the answer in the sphere's testing protocols. The system was designed to evaluate intelligence, technological capability, but most importantly, compatibility with the architect's values. The architects had left clues throughout Earth's biosphere. Embedded information in DNA sequences. Mathematical constants encoded in viral genomes. Tests hidden in biology itself. And every technological species that evolved would eventually discover these patterns. The question was whether they'd understand what they meant. DNA isn't just biological. It's informational. 4 bases, adenine, cytosine, guanine, thymine, can encode any information, like binary code but with 4 digits instead of 2. A single gram of DNA can theoretically store 215 petabytes of data. More than all the digital information humanity has ever created. And it lasts for hundreds of thousands of years with proper conditions. What if the architects used Earth's biosphere as a storage medium? Encoded messages in junk DNA that wouldn't affect organism function but would be detectable to any species that learned genetic sequencing. Dr. Okonkwo's team found exactly that. Sequences in human DNA, shared across all humans, serving no biological function, that decoded into mathematical proofs. The architect's entrance exam, written into our genome. With 400 hours left, humanity raced to solve the embedded problems. Mathematical theorems that required understanding of physics we'd only recently discovered. The problems tested everything, quantum mechanics understanding. Could we manipulate superposition and entanglement? Relativistic physics. Did we understand space-time curvature and causality? Information theory. Could we recognize and decode self-referential information systems? Every answer unlocked the next question. A graduated curriculum designed to assess whether we'd reached the threshold of dangerous intelligence. Because that's what the architects feared. Not primitive life. Intelligent life that might destroy itself before achieving wisdom. With 47 hours remaining, humanity passed the final test. The spheres responded immediately. A new message appeared. Longer. More detailed. The truth about what the quarantine really was. The architects didn't leave. They died. A war. Not between species, between factions of their own civilization. Over the ethics of seeding life throughout the galaxy. Some believed younger civilizations should be guided. Others believed in non-interference. The conflict escalated. Technologies meant to terraform became weapons. Biospheres became battlefields. In the end, both sides lost. The architects went extinct. But before they died, the surviving faction, the ones who believed in guidance, installed the quarantine systems. On thousands of planets. Including Earth. Not to contain life. To protect it. To prevent young civilizations from accessing dangerous technology before they were ready. To give life time to mature before facing cosmic threats. The sterilization sequence was their final measure. If a civilization developed enough to detect the spheres but couldn't pass the embedded tests, they were deemed dangerous. Better to reset than let them loose on a galaxy they'd destroy. But humanity passed. We demonstrated not just intelligence, but the capacity for global cooperation. The willingness to seek understanding before defaulting to fear or aggression. We proved we were ready. The spheres didn't deactivate. They transformed. They became libraries. Archives of the architect's entire civilization. Technology. History. The inheritance they left for whoever proved worthy. And more than that, communication systems. Still functional after 847 million years. Connected to the other quarantine worlds. We weren't alone. 47 other quarantine systems had been deactivated by species that passed the tests. 47 other civilizations ready for contact. Earth's isolation was over. Not because we conquered space. Because we proved we deserved not to be alone. The spheres contained more than history. They contained instructions. Blueprints for technologies the architects had mastered. Fusion reactors that work at room temperature. Medical technologies that could cure aging. Faster than light travel principles that don't violate relativity, they transcended through higher dimensions. But the spheres delivered these with warnings. Technologies that destroyed the architects if misused. Power that requires wisdom. And the sphere network had one final message. This one from the architects themselves, recorded just before their extinction. If you hear this, you survived what we could not. Unity. You achieved what destroyed us. We created life hoping it would surpass us. Thank you for proving that hope justified. The quarantine was never meant to imprison you. It was meant to prepare you. You are ready now. Take what we built. Learn from our failures. Succeed where we failed. The galaxy is dangerous. But you need not face it alone. 47 siblings await you. Together, you inherit our purpose. Protect life wherever it emerges. Create more gardens. Tend them better than we did. You are no longer children. You are gardeners. Welcome to your inheritance. The artifact beneath the Great Pyramid wasn't a weapon. Wasn't a warning. It was a test we didn't know we were taking. For 847 million years, we lived in a nursery. Protected. Contained. Given time to grow without facing threats that would destroy us. And when we finally grew dangerous enough to detect our protection, The system judged whether we'd matured enough to handle the truth. We did. Barely. By demonstrating that when faced with extinction, we chose cooperation over conflict. Understanding over fear. The countdown that threatened to destroy us was actually counting down to our graduation. Pass or fail. Extinction or enlightenment. And now we inherit the architect's legacy. Their technology. Their mission. Their failures teaching us not to repeat them. The spheres remain active. Monitoring. But no longer as wardens. As teachers. Guides left by parents who died hoping their children would do better. We're not alone in the universe. We never were. We were just quarantined until we were safe to meet. And somewhere out there, on worlds we haven't discovered yet, other quarantine systems are still running. Other gardens being tended. Other children growing toward their own graduation. The architects died 847 million years ago. But their work continues. Through us. Through the 47 others. Through every species that will pass the test after us. The artifact buried on Earth wasn't alien. It was ancestral. We just didn't know we had family until they decided we were ready to meet them. *The End